deserves more credit for this turnaround? Would you put it more on Russell or Sean Payton?
Well, maybe it's a combination, but I think Russ has played really, really well since this winning streak took place.
Okay.
The Broncos defense is doing a great job of taking the ball away, and Russ hasn't turned the ball over nearly as much as he did earlier, especially last year. But I thought last night's game specifically was about Russell Wilson because Sean Payton constantly put them behind the 8 ball. D.O., you know this. There's only so many times that you're going to overcome 2nd and 10, 3rd and 8. At some point in time, give them an opportunity, a fair opportunity to get something positive on 1st down. They run the ball, Javonte, run the ball with P. Ryan. At what point in time do you say, you know what, guys, let's try something else. Let's try something short. Let's throw the ball on 1st down. And if you go back, there was 2nd and 10, 2nd and 12, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9. And that's a very difficult thing to overcome. The Broncos also shot themselves in the foot with penalties because they could have put this game away a lot earlier and not made it as climactic as they made it, considering they kicked 5 field goals when they had an opportunity to score touchdowns. But I thought this game specifically was about Russ, and I'm going to give Russ a lot of the credit because I beat him up last year, and deservedly so. So I'm not here to apologize and say, oh, Russ is the savior now, because he deserved everything that he got. And on this particular play that you see, this is what being a number one is all about, Stephen A., is that I'm going to put the ball up. I'm going to give you an opportunity. And one or two things need to happen. Either you get this a touchdown or it's an incomplete pass. I am not going to let that corner intercept this ball. Russ put it up. They came with an all-out blitz, and Russ beat the blitz. Cortland Sutton made a great play. But I'm going to give Russ the lion's share of the credit. I'm going to say probably 70-30 Russell Wilson because it doesn't matter about the head coach. Right. If the quarterback doesn't play well, you're not going to win. We'll discuss that a little later with the Jets situation.
We absolutely, I get where you're coming from, Shannon, but I'm going to have to respectfully disagree with you about this because we can't look at just last night in a vacuum when we're talking about answering a question as to whether or not Russell Wilson deserves the most credit as opposed to Sean Payton. I will remind you that just weeks ago they were giving up 33 points a game.
Yeah.
And now it's 17 a game over the last 4 or 5 weeks or so.
And take the ball away.
We got to give Vance Joseph a lot of credit as defensive coordinator because I thought he should have been looking for another job after they gave up 70 to Miami or whatever.
Yeah.
When you got a 70-piece thrown on you, that is a problem. But weeks 1 through 6, when they allowed a NFL worst 33 points per game, including 70 in week 3 road loss to Miami. Ever since then, like I said, 17 points a game. So we got to take that into consideration.
Okay.
Last night, 57.9% quarterback pressure rate, 5th highest in the NFL. We got to pay attention to that. 2 sacks, 3 tackles for a loss, 10 quarterback hits. This is last night. Why do I bring up all of this about Sean Payton, who really his signature is offense, which is why I get you giving Russell Wilson credit instead of him. But remember, guys, we were throwing all the heat in Sean Payton's direction because he called out Nathaniel Hackett.
Right.
He talked about how organizationally, from top to bottom, it was an absolute mess in Denver. Whether it was you, whether it was me, whether it was Orlovsky, whether it was RC, Ryan Clark, and others, we all talked about Rex Ryan included. We talked about how classless it was for Sean Payton to do what he did in calling out Nathaniel Hackett. Well, even though it was classless, and we all concede that, at the end of the day, he looking like a damn prophet right now because you see how the Jets offense looking. I heard you this morning on Get Up, Dan Orlovsky. We'll get to that later. But you pointed out how awful the Jets look when we're talking about, you can't just talk about Zach Wilson. You're talking about collectively, schematically, everything that you're seeing in New York. It's an absolute mess. Well, who's their offensive coordinator? It happens to be the former head coach for the Denver Broncos. Now Sean Payton gets there, and all of a sudden, they got the longest winning streak in the NFL right now, okay? They're a 500 team after starting out 1-5. Their defense is one of the best defenses in the NFL over the last 4 weeks, haven't given up more than 22 points in a game. We saw the level of pressure they applied to Joshua Dobbs last night. They were coming after him, particularly in that last drive. They just suffocated him. You got to give credit where credit is due. Never in our wildest dreams, watching the Denver Broncos from weeks ago, did we believe we would see what we've been seeing over the last 4 weeks. That's leadership from the top I'm talking about in terms of your coaching. It starts with Sean Payton. He's showing he's not just some offensive mind. He's not just a delegator. He's an overseer and a leader when it comes to this football team, and you can see the respect that the team has for him. That's why I say it's him instead of Russell Wilson right now, especially when you went 2 for 12 on 3rd downs offensively. I'm not going to give Russell Wilson but so much credit. I appreciate the fact that he ain't turned over the ball in the last 4 games, but I ain't going to give him but so much credit.
Okay. What you got, Dio?
No, that's a good word on that coaching staff, Stephen A. I would say this, though. Russell Wilson's back to being the top 10 quarterback. No doubt. And that's why, for me, this is Russell. To go through what Russell went through last year. Russell was dragged last year. And I had
Deservedly so,
felt
Dio.
He put it on himself.
I never agreed with that. I never
Russ,
agreed with that.
Dio, the
he
man
didn't
had
play
16
well,
touchdowns
but I
in
felt
17
the
games.
situation was bad. What'd you say?
He threw for 16 touchdowns, and I think he missed a game in like 15 games. That's unacceptable for a quarterback of his stature.
Yeah, but Shannon, he was dragged. Like, he was mocked. Go back to September of this year, 6-7 weeks ago. People were saying, oh my gosh, he's terrible. He was never terrible this year. The fact that he went through last year and allowed everyone to say what they said about him, again, we can criticize the play, but was said about him, and to get himself back to being a top 10 quarterback, he's playing top 10 quarterback ball. He's got the best, I think he's got like 20 touchdowns and 4 picks. And in many ways, Stephen A., I do want to give you credit for pointing out the Sean Payton part of this, because he has gotten Russell, not all the time, to play a little bit of a way that we haven't seen from Russell. Russell's gotten way more control at the line of scrimmage than he's ever had. He's playing in rhythm a little bit more than he ever has. And that's allowed some of the late game playmaking. He's way more willing to make plays like this, the check downs. Russell's never taken check downs. So I do want to give Sean Payton credit. But the fact that Russell Wilson has gotten himself back to playing, and how many quarterbacks, let's just have an honest conversation here. How many quarterbacks this season, in the middle of November, Thanksgiving, are playing this year better than Russell Wilson? 7, 8 guys?
Yes, are Josh Allen and the Bills back on track?
Hell no. How are we going to possibly say that because they beat Zach Wilson and the Jets last night?
Thank you.
Are you kidding me? I mean, it's ridiculous. Could you come to me in 3 weeks? They've got the Eagles next week, and then a bye, and then Kansas City, and then Dallas, December 17th. Can we talk on December 18th, 1 week before Christmas after that? The last 7 weeks before yesterday, the previous 7 weeks, the Buffalo Bills hadn't scored 25 points. Hadn't scored more than 25 points.
You're not impressed in a game where Zach Wilson was benched?
Let me tell you something. There's a level of empathy and sympathy that I have for the New York Jets defense because I know their defense is better.
Right.
The fact is they're demoralized because they know they have no chance. Look at them when a team scores first. They're almost deflated because they know their offense can't do a damn thing because their quarterback is god-awful. Now, Zach Wilson, he's not all at fault. I was listening to you this morning, Dio, on Get Up, and I get your point about schematically and all that stuff. We get to Nathaniel Hackett yet again. Yeah. Are we throwing him on our shoulders now? Are we talking about what a victim he was now because Sean Payton was classless and calling him out, albeit accurate when he did so? Are we doing that now? Hell no. Because the only reason Nathaniel Hackett is an offensive coordinator in this NFL is because Aaron Rodgers is his guy. And Aaron Rodgers came to the New York Jets, so he arrived there. He got the head coaching job in Denver because Denver was pursuing Aaron Rodgers, and they thought they had a shot to get him. So they hired him as the head coach. He has been god-awful. And are you ready, New York Jets, to host him on your shoulders now? I don't think so. Your offense is trash. Dak Wilson is trash. He can't, listen. He's one of those dudes, not you in California because of the warm weather and all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? You ain't trying to be in New York. I get that. But let me tell you a little something about New York, okay? Zach Wilson got a hard time going out for dinner. I'm trying to tell you right now. Yeah. They spot him at dinner in the streets of New York City. It's going to be a problem. They want him. He need to be Uber Eats. And what else can you come up with? He need to be ordering stuff to get to. Nobody wants to see him.
Right.
Nobody wants to see him. They can't ship him out of town fast enough, okay? This is what that's about. I don't want to hear anything about the Buffalo Bills. As far as I'm concerned, they had a bye week yesterday. Come to me in a month when they go up against the Eagles, the Chiefs after the bye week, and the Dallas Cowboys. And when they handle their business in games of that magnitude, we can bloviate about the Buffalo Bills and there's a return to football, quality football in Western New York. Until that time, shut the hell up and go out there and prepare for a real NFL opponent because you didn't go up against one offensively in the New York Jets yesterday.
I agree with you, Stephen A. I don't think they're back, although Josh Allen had 275 yards and 3 touchdowns. 2 of those scoring drives started inside the Jets' 25.
Yep.
On the opening drive, they get the ball at the Jets' 21. Did you know they lost 9 yards on that drive? See,
Lord.
I'm going to tell you a little something, Dio. Nothing makes you feel better about yourself than hanging out with somebody that's less than you. You see, when you beat the Jets, they worse than you are. So I feel good about myself because them sorry rascals are worse than I would have been playing over the last month. And that's what the Jets are. And Stephen A. is right. When the Jets defense can't get a shutout And I told you, what happens, Dio? We've had this conversation because you've been on the last 6 weeks of Mondays. I say, Dio, what happens when that defense doesn't get 4 turnovers? What happens when they don't get scooping scores or pick sixes? What happens when they don't block a punt and put Zach Wilson on a short field? Because I've been trying to tell you, and I'll say it again, you never accept anything in a win, you wouldn't in a loss. And because they was winning, y'all accepted that sorry, pathetic play of Zach Wilson. And now when it comes back, when the tree has been bearing fruit for the longest, oh, Zach gotta go. He been playing bad, but the defense been bailing him out. But now the defense can't bail him out. Now what you got for me? Put something on it.
Shannon, if you took Michael Vick and put him on that offense is still going to stink with the Jets.
That's not a good
okay?
analogy.
Let's be honest.
That's not the greatest analogy in the world. The last few years, we love
Tom Brady.
Vick, love him to death, but okay, fine.
Take Patrick Mahomes.
Whoa,
Take Patrick Mahomes. You take Patrick Mahomes and you put him on that offense. That offense.
Now you're being insulting. That is ridiculous. With Garrett Wilson,
that offense
with the
would be average.
Do they got running? Do they have running backs?
That offense
they run the football?
would be average.
Could they run it? Okay,
No.
it ain't average now.
It's below average.
It ain't average now.
Yes.
What I'm trying to tell you is this. I agree. Like, Zach Wilson is what he is. He is what he is.
Oh, he is what he is.
You changing the quarterback in New York.
Oh.
Welcome to the party.
But who's making him out to be a Hall of Famer? Like who
Nobody.
to be a
You was making him out to be a legitimate quarterback.
Yes,
you were. They can win with Zach Wilson.
He's
they
absolutely
can win
right,
what?
man.
They can win the college football playoff. That's the only thing they can win with.
By the way, he's been hanging out with Mad Dog Russo a little bit because he engaged in hyperbole. You notice that you said you were making him out to be an NFL quarterback. He said Hall of Famer because see, he wants to blow it up. Because we know he didn't say that. No, but you were trying to paint him as a quality quarterback.
Yes,
That was you, Orlovsky.
You dressed him up. You dressed him up.
I never once painted him as I said they can win with him. Because the defense was so great. The defense, I've always said the defense was so great. But we talk about the Jets like, well, if they play Tim Boyle, they're going to be better. No, they're not. Their offensive line, Zach Wilson, he did not even have a chance yesterday until 6 minutes to go in the second quarter. I'm not this is not a defense of Zach Wilson, okay? Like, he is what he is, the Jets offense, but it's not going to get fixed by changing the quarterback. Let's go to the Bills. Because there's a lot of conversation and noise and what's being said about Josh Allen over the past week. So you mean to tell me that we're just going to brush over the performance that he and this offense had against the Jets defense when I think 2 or 3 weeks ago, the head coach, rightfully so, said we've embarrassed every quarterback that we've played this year. Embarrassed them. And Josh Allen went for 275 and 3, and we're going to try to quantify it by saying, well, they got possession here or there. They were dominant in this game. They used motion in this game. They used play action in this game. No. You guys aren't going to sit here and get out of the what.
How did he look last? Okay, let me ask you this. How did he look last week against the Broncos with all those turnovers? That was the same Josh Allen. Well, now you got a confident quarterback from the other side.
He had one bad turnover last week.